Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is JupiterJames and this is Astro Motivation, where I awaken the astrologer within you and aim to give you a little inspiration and motivation per your unique placement within your birth chart. You know, I really do feel that before a time of iPhones and iPads and I this and I that, we were a culture and a society that were better able to look up at the stars and understand exactly what the universe wanted from us. And it is with that language and with that knowledge that we were able to look down at our birth charts and understand exactly what the universe wanted from us. And so if that sounds good to you, let's get into it. Today we're gonna get into Saturn in the third house. Now, Saturn in the third house is gonna give me someone whose Saturn return is really based on them learning effective communication, learning how to communicate and how to get along with their siblings and their family dynamic, and also within the neighborhoods and the places that they live and getting along, communicating effectively. They're learning lessons regarding this, okay? And before we go ahead and really dive deep into this very, challenging placement, this very karmic placement, let's go ahead and dissect the placement. That way we are able to do more with the energy we've been given, do more with the placement and the knowledge we've been given, and that way we're not just confined to Saturn in third house, okay? That way when we see Saturn playing out in the world, we can go, okay, JupiterJames told me Saturn did this and this and this, and when we see third house playing out in the world, we can go, okay, JupiterJames said third house did this, this, that, and now we are able to do more with the information within other people's charts out in the world with Saturn in third house in other areas, and we can put the pieces together where they may, and we know the language of the stars. You see what I mean? That's the only way we do it. Now, Saturn in the birth chart for me as an astrologer is always going to show me what this soul is here to learn in this life. If I want to know what this soul's lesson is in this life, or where this person is having the most problems and the most friction in this life so that they learn, so that they get better, I look for Saturn. What is your biggest karmic lesson? What is the thing that you are meant to learn in this life? That's where Saturn is. Believe it or not, we are not just here on the planet to work and to drive and to get a partner and get a home and go to college and do this and do that. Yes, those are the perks of being down here on the planet, but the real reason we are here is to cultivate things within our personality, within our souls, that we did not come down here with. We are here to acquire lessons about what this life is that we did not come down here with, all right? And it is in that we are here interacting with others, that we are here doing the things that we do, and jobs and money and relationships and fun are all byproducts of us searching to accumulate the lesson that we are here and meant to learn, okay? So remember that. This is a big earth school, all right? Now, with Saturn is always gonna restrict because it wants you to become a master in this area. Ultimately, when you do learn the lessons of wherever Saturn is pointing to, it wants you to it'll open the doors once you learn the lesson. This will be that area that you become a master in, that you ultimately are not so afraid of anymore once you learn the lessons, because it is in the pain, in the struggle, in the restriction, that once you learn it, you know what not to do. You know how to be effective because you know what it feels like to be ineffective in that area, okay? So with that being said, moving, and this lesson will really hit the fan when you turn 28 to around 30, and in some cases to 35, okay? And this will be that metaphoric SAT that you need to turn into the universe to show the universe that you are learning. And usually, more times than not, that last lesson will be the hardest lesson that kind of forces you to really perfect that area of your life, to really finally, once and for all, really understand what that area of your life is trying to teach you. Because if you don't, you can't go further. Does that make sense? If you don't learn that lesson, it's almost as if you can't take your life further unless you learn that lesson in your life, At that time, at around 28 to 30, all right? Unless you learn that lesson around that time in your life, when that last boss, when that last, lesson comes, when that SAT needs to be turned in, unless you turn it in and you pass it and learn that lesson, you can't graduate into a healthy 30-year-old, a healthy person with that lesson being acquired, okay? Now, Third house. The third house is ruled by Gemini. Now, no matter what your respective sign on your third house may be, know that the default out of the packaging birth chart is always going to be ruled by Mercury and Gemini in the third house, all right? And what those things mean and are regarding are themes of your mind, your mental faculties, your communication faculties. It is also showing what your immediate surroundings are, where when you walk outside of your apartment and you interact with your neighborhood, your grocery store, your bodega, your Starbucks, the locality of where you live is your third house. It's the local places that you frequent on a day-to-day basis. It's the neighbors, the people around you, understand? So it regards you communicating with those people. It regards your siblings, all right? Also your sibling, your who you are in the family dynamic as opposed to you amongst your siblings, all right? Who were you? Usually the third house shows me, whatever the sign that it's in, shows me how your siblings see you. What is the role you play within your sibling dynamic, all right? Your sign will show me that you're that type of sibling. You're this sibling. You're the quirky sibling. You're the spiritual sibling. You're the creative sibling. That's what the third house will show me, all right? Now, what happens when we throw Saturn into the third house? Saturn in the third house is going to be a difficult placement because for you, it's going to restrict your communication forces, all right? It's gonna seem like when you come down to saying whatever needs to be said, it's blocked. Maybe people don't receive what you say. Maybe people don't like what you say. Maybe when you do try to express yourself or say what's on your mind, maybe you get rejected or people don't want to hear what you have to say. For some reason, you're always getting shut down in your communication. And it could be because of the way you are communicating. It could be because maybe you are communicating with the wrong people. Maybe you are congregating and hanging around the wrong people who don't want to receive you or don't know how to receive you, okay? It's gonna make for someone who feels like they just can't speak up for whatever reason, all right? Now with Saturn in the third house, this gives me the energy of older sibling energy, all right? You may be the oldest sibling, or you may be the sibling that has a lot of authority or power within your sibling dynamic, all right? You could be the sibling that has a lot of responsibility towards your siblings. Maybe for some reason you are the eldest child and the mother's like, all right, I want you to make sure you pick up your younger siblings on your way to from school. Pick them up, go get them, like that. You could be the sibling that has a very stressed relationship with your other siblings, okay? For whatever reason. It could be that, you know, you guys disagree a lot. Maybe you guys don't like each other. There's a lot of karmic lessons when it comes to communicating with your siblings. For some reason, you and your siblings don't get along. There's a lot of unspoken tension, a lot of things that karmically you guys need to work out and that you need to talk about, you need to express. Otherwise, there's always some friction. There's always something going on. You just know that there's this undercurrent restrictive force that is stopping you when it comes to your siblings, okay? So does this sound like you? Does this sound like you? Also, when it comes to Saturn in the third house, this could also be someone that, you know, you are not able to travel far away from home. For some reason, traveling far away from home is something you are not able to do, cannot do, don't want to do. Anytime that you maybe want to, you can't travel too far away from home. I would even make the wager that you probably do not live more than 500 miles away from your hometown. This gives me that energy. If you are someone that wants to travel or live abroad, it's just not, it's gonna be very hard for you to do that, to live somewhere far away from your hometown. And you can usually gauge that by wherever your parents live. You don't live too far away from your parents. You don't. You will almost not be able to for whatever reason, okay? Something will go wrong, something will go awry. It's almost like you can't even get out of your own neighborhood. This gives me the energy of someone who lives with their parents until the age of 30. You know, they live with their parents way past the appropriate age that they should be. But I do know that this is gonna really tie up your communication forces. It's gonna make so that your neighborhood that you live in, maybe you have a lot of problems with the people that are around you. Maybe you get into arguments at the grocery store. Maybe you get into arguments with people at the coffee shop. Maybe just like commuting around your neighborhood is very hard. But I do know that what I do know, like I know, is that communicating is the area of life that you really need to work on. And it is through that all the other things that I've named will play out for the better, okay? It'll be that when you learn how to communicate and say what needs to be said in maybe a more eloquent fashion, or in some cases, standing up for yourself in a more domineering fashion. You know, this will vary, but I do know that there are lessons in your life that are telling you, hey, you need to find a more effective way to communicate with the people around you, with your siblings, with whenever you go out, whenever you talk to someone, you need to learn a better way of communicating. Maybe you need to be more honest. Maybe you need to be more sharp. Maybe you need to be quicker. Maybe you need to be less quick. Maybe you need to be less sharp. It can play out in different ways, but I do know communication, when it happens, it's like something's happening that you don't want to happen. If this sounds like you, let me know in my comments below. Do you feel that the relationship with you and your parents you and your siblings are very stressed? For some reason you don't get along with your siblings. Maybe every apartment complex you move into, there's something that happens between you and the neighbors. Maybe there's something that when you go to the grocery store or when you go too far away from home, something happens, like something knocks you back into your lane where it's like, damn, I can't travel, I can't go abroad, I can't move away from home. For some reason I can't move. Is that you? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're at it, can you let me know the sign that your third house has in it with the Saturn, and I will let you know what you could be experiencing with that placement. All right, I'll write back 2 little sentences on what your Saturn return could mean for you. Now, getting into the Saturn return, this is gonna be that time from 28 to 30 that if you do not, you're gonna need to learn how to communicate. You're gonna need to learn how to communicate effectively. You're gonna need to look back in your life and replay every instance of your life and really try to determine the common denominator when it comes to you communicating with others, okay? I want you to close your eyes and really think, okay, in every situation that I've communicated with someone and it didn't go correct, if you could step outside of your shoes, right, and see you head on, talking to yourself in that instance, how would you receive it? What is it that you have said, the way you said it, gone about it, approached it, that did not come off in the way that needed to make for a very successful communicative moment? What is that? And that will be that thing that whatever comes out to you, whatever highlights to you, that's what you need to change. That's what you need to come at with a different approach. That's what you need to really fix. That's the thing that you need to fix and learn from. What is it? You know, for example, I have, you know, my mom has Saturn in the 3rd house, and she has a lot of trouble with her siblings, right? And since I was a kid, you know, we would go to my aunt's house, and when I tell you, they would be sitting at the couch and they would be saying one thing but meaning another. Everyone would be saying one thing, smiling, but meaning another, but no one's actually saying what needs to be said so that they move on, so that they get over it, right? So, but ultimately, the thing that they are keeping from each other, eventually as the night will go, boom, an argument will break out. Why? Because they refuse just to, because the energy is gonna manifest in some type of way. The energy is gonna come out. What needs to get done is gonna come out in a different area, whether it be someone fighting over here, whether the kids are fighting now, and you see what I'm saying? And so as I got older, I would just say, Mom, you know, I'm sensing that when we go over there, although you are trying to keep the peace, although you are trying to not touch on the very sensitive subject, it seems like no one is saying what needs to be said. And if you guys would just say it, if you would just say, hey, I feel wronged in this situation, this is not right, this is not correct, this is not how we do things, you guys would get over the hump. You guys would get over it by now. This would be done. But it's because my mom needs to learn how to say it in a more effective way. You know, rather than keeping things and crossing the legs and being prim and proper and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, it's the very thing by her not communicating, by not her saying what needs to be said, that is causing the divide between her and her siblings. You see what I mean? So Saturn's gonna do it. Saturn's gonna do it in one way or another. It's gonna put that area of your life and it's gonna strain it to the point where you can't not say what needs to be said. You can't sit on your hands and just be like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. You're gonna find that you are being put in positions where you have to speak up. You have to say what is on your mind or things will go awry. Situations will unfold that are unpleasant for you. You won't be able to lock that deal down or get in that relationship or get that job fulfilled or do those things because you have not communicated effectively. So with that, I really do want to encourage you to speak up, speak your mind. You probably are very sharp, very insightful, you probably have so much wisdom and you probably have so much to offer, but you're not saying what needs to be said in the appropriate moment. You probably wait until you're behind closed doors to let all of what you need to say out, but you haven't said it to the person or to the people who need to hear it. What does that do for anybody? What does that do for anyone when you are smiling in their face, but at home, you let it all out? Or you have to learn to speak and speak effectively according to each moment, all right? You're gonna be someone you're learning social cues in this life. You're learning, you know, in this area of life, maybe I need to, when I speak to that specific person, maybe I need to let them know gently what I feel. In this area of life, you're saying, okay, in this, I need to be a little bit more forceful with this person. With this person, I need to kind of be a little bit more cavalier or diplomatic in my speech when I talk to this person. You're gonna really learn and feel what needs to be said in each appropriate time, all right? If this sounds like you, let me know. Write the sign that your third house is in with that Saturn in it, and I will write back to you what that could mean for you. I really do hope that you gain some clarity and some insight and encouragement from this video. If you have a different placement that does not regard Saturn in your birth chart that you would like for me to cover, write it down in my comments and I will add that to the queue as a part of the videos that I will get out for you guys. But know that I am rooting for you. I am sending good vibes to your vocal cords. I'm sending good vibes and eloquent vibes to your communication forces. And I'm hoping that you, the surrounding people that you are around, and the people that you come in contact with receive your words in the best light, all right? And they receive you in the best light, because everyone deserves to be seen and to be heard, all right? And you're one of those. I love you, and I will see y'all on the next one, all right? Bye.